Mm-hmm.
Honestly, after thinking about it, I just kind of realized it's probably just the lack of stage one, like the actual stage one practice. That's the problem.
That can be part of it, definitely.
So like I got the CSIC part, but maybe not the defensive spacing,
Yeah, that
because
can
I
be
could
part of
always
it.
just go full aggro and win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like as you've played against the many Darius, right? Like even against Darius, right? Like you'll still win. Just have to be conservative.
Yeah,
'Cause in
just
the if he can use all his abilities and hit you with everything and get the 5 stacks down, that's where it gets really like dangerous. But if it's just like, yeah, if you're just punishing him on CS and making sure that he can't do crazy things on you, then you're gonna be in a really strong position.
yeah. Generally I could do that, but when they are like playing super forward, I kind of want to get CS myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I have to kind of use Q,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
fine.
hard to punish.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of similar to range matchups, right?
Hmm.
Where you're kind of trying to get away with CS more than actually looking to get CS, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing: when I try to go for level two, but it's
Yeah,
really not worth.
yeah, right. Because especially if he runs W, I mean what you're doing here is good, right? Because you're kind of putting pressure on him as well. Like I don't see this as bad at all. Ah, you don't go for a continue like so basically like the thing that's going wrong here is not necessarily what you're doing exactly, but against Darius specifically, the way he beats you is by getting 5 stacks, right? And if you keep that in mind, just the entire lane, you basically don't have the issues, right? So here, this auto attack's fine. This auto attack is already like more risky, right? Because you're going even in auto attacks, and
Hmm.
normally going even in auto attacks is fine because it's gonna be like even HP difference, right? You'll be like
Yeah.
right here and he'll be right here, but because of his bleed, it's not even anymore. It's not like
Hmm.
you have grasp or something, right? The
Yeah.
great thing about Darius is because you have the shield. If you just have like 1 stack of this, basically healing more than that you're taking damage from, right?
Hmm.
And the way he can win fights with you is by getting the 5 stacks on you, because at exactly 5 he gains more AD and the bleed starts doing way more damage, right? So if from this point on he hits you once more or no more, right? So like if you look at it like this and you just keep walking, you wait for the stacks to run out, then you've really won this trade like massively, right?
Uh-huh.
Because he's not running cookies. You can also think, right, like he's got the Conqueror 8 stacks right now. If we walk back in, he's going to get the 10th stacks here. So, right, like that auto there not only gave him the 4th stack on Bleed, it also gave him the 10th stacks on Conqueror, right? And these Bleed stacks are like stronger every one. And now you get the
Yeah.
5. And another bad thing about this, right, is that if you're on 4 and it's halfway done and he hits 5, it resets, right?
Yeah.
And now of course it's terrible, right? Like basically out of lane. Almost needs to base and recall, right? So I think this is more of a Darius specific thing, but basically whenever playing against him, you really just need to keep in mind that he needs the 5 stacks to really do much. And if you're not giving him the 5 stacks, then he can't do the things that are super dangerous, right? Because like that's you with like basically like all of this was fine. Like I don't see anything wrong with this, right? That auto attack is risky, but like if you just walk away, like if you ignore this auto attack, right? Let's ignore like right now. If we just walk away here, like we've destroyed the trade, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of how you need to see um the like facing Darius specifically, right? Is the longer the trade goes, the higher his bleed stacks is gonna be, and the more damage he's gonna deal. Because at 3 it's basically nothing, right? Like right now if you just walk away, and like even if he gets one more auto attack, it doesn't really matter. You still really want to trade. But because you go for you like extend it, even though you have no abilities yourself, you're basically trading your auto attack, which does, it does some damage, but his auto attack deals more damage and gives you the bleed, right? So you're basically trading an auto attack for auto attack and ability, and from
Yeah.
that point, right, like, so basically you can only like against this champion you can trade with your abilities because your abilities are so strong, but from that point on, right, like right now we just need to run and going for auto attacks like that just gets us into really hairy situations, and then yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'd say like it's not necessarily like an issue surrounding like stage 1 or stage 2, right? It's basically just you accepting to go for a very long trade, right? Instead of just doing the basics, right? So like instead of just, punishing him whenever he goes for CS and just getting CS yourself safely, right? You extend your trades and almost turn them into all in, or accept your enemy turning them into all ins, right? It's,
Yeah.
it's like something LS talks about as well, right? Like basically handshake is what he says
Hmm.
all the time, right? So it's not like and yeah, like obviously like the lane state right now is pretty bad if he doesn't, push it back into you, which like luckily he does.
All
And
of them do.
yeah, and obviously right now, right, like yeah, he's super strong. You can still like that was fine, right? And now he doesn't have his abilities anymore. He's gonna use Ghost because he's still at the 2 stacks. And this again, right? Like how you can look at this, right? You've got the 2 stacks on you, so just sit back. Just wait a second until these 2 stacks disappear, and then we can go again. It's all about counting to 5. This minion, right? This minion's not even being targeted,
Yeah.
right?
I could also just wait for Q.
Yeah, exactly. And this again, right? Like matchup, the entire matchup is just like, can you count to 5? If you can, then you win. If you can't, then you lose,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
And that's basically how you can see it, right? Like because if you look at the Darius's abilities, right? He's got auto W auto, which generally like 3 stacks immediately, and a Q, which is the 4 stack. So you can easily get 4 stacks on you. The fifth stack is like way more difficult in general. So you can kind of just look at it that way. And so if you've already got 1 stack, then E auto W with another auto over or with Q is already 5 stacks, and that's where you can do stuff again. But yeah, like I obviously understand that it's annoying,
Yeah.
especially when you're like a situation like this. Then it's just like, oh my god, I can't do anything. Okay,
Yeah,
that's.
because it's really snowballs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's quickly look through and if there's see if there's like really more, but it just kind of looks like um, what's happening is that they are running in for an all-in, and you're handshaking the all-in a little bit, and because of that, you're basically like putting yourself in a position where Darius is super strong as a champion, right? You're putting yourself into a position where it's champion versus champion opposed to player versus player,
Yeah.
right? And we want to avoid those situations in general. Not only like because in this case we lose it, right? But also because um, if we're gonna be looking to become a better player, then we should focus like as much as possible on player versus player interactions. Just because player versus player helps us the most in regards to growing, right?
Yeah, and you can influence it the most.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like this is obviously fine, right? Like it's okay if you know that you're not gonna be able to do something level 2 that like to play like this. Like this is completely fine. The thing we kind of want to do is just like get away with as much CS as possible right now. You're trying to treat him like a pseudo ranged champion. If we miss some CS, it's okay. Right now he's level 2, so it's the most dangerous point for us. Right. That's close. If that minion survived, that'd be really great. And this is absolutely perfect to us, like for us, right? Like this is something I'll talk about all the time about how bad it is for the enemy laner, right? So like this is so good for you. Like right now, I like this is like basically a one lane for me. Like if I'm like playing as ornn here, I'm just like thinking, oh my god, this is like the freest lane ever. I am not like this is not possible to lose basically. Just need to CS under tower really. Yep. Yeah, because this guy was an idiot, he just gets ganked and it's pretty much done. We can look a little bit longer, but basically like it's gonna be the same concept, right? Like really like that auto right there, I'd be careful with because it puts you into the 5 range. And when you're in 5 range, just wait it out until and then just walk back in, right? That's his threat, the 5. Anything before that isn't really threatening. And when he Qs like that, right, like he hits the entire wave, he pushes into you. It's pretty great. Everything else we just need to do is just basically do like standard stuff, right? Oh yeah, this game is really over. Okay, look at the third one.
Yeah, I think this is another one where I try to get level 2.
Yeah, so if you do, like if you actually get level 2 first, you basically just win the game. Or like win the lane mostly, right? But this is where, right, like just like when he's just straight up walking at you like this, right? You kind of can't go for a Q lined like this anymore. Like that Q is still good, but like this auto is the mistake. I mean, like still right now, like this is favored for you, I'd say, because he's pushing into you. He doesn't have a big lead into level 2. So basically, if you don't make massive mistakes right now, you'll win the lane from this point on. Especially with Nocturne like routing topside, there's very little options for Darius to do a ton at level 2 that he's gonna hit right now, but you're hitting 2. Yeah, like right now I'd already say like, oh, this kind of favored for like Darius needed to do more. The fact that Darius didn't like claim level 2 here is really bad for him. Yeah, like that's huge that he missed a Q there. That's like one of his only ways to do anything. That was a good W option there if you had it. And now he's looking for this dangerous again. So he gets the 5, and there you go.
Yeah.
That's yeah, it's like every time, right? Like you see it, and here like this auto and this minion, right? Like doesn't
Yeah,
do anything.
that's
That's just kind of like the stuff, right? Where
mhm.
against range champions, you really have to just try and get away with CS, right? So random auto attacks on like minions don't help with that. They just kind of lock you into place, and then the opponent can predict where you are and actually do stuff with that. And here he like hits level 3 out of nowhere. How does he hit level 3 there? That's so weird. Anyways, but yeah, it's the same concept basically. So yeah, it is pain, but at the same time, it's like if you're
Just have
like you're
count.
you're moving into like winning positions, but you're basically making mistakes in those winning positions. The
Hmm.
lines you're choosing are correct. It's just, you know, the actual play afterwards that's not correct. And the issues that come up are pretty much just being very greedy. If that makes sense. Being very greedy for just random autos on minions or just getting a push or, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
that type of stuff. Yeah. We already saw that. Wait,
No, that's a new one.
is is this another one?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Uh, can't decide. Okay. And a happy one. Oh yeah, you can trade infinite just one guy. Very true. So what most people say about Word. Apart from Darius, by the way, like what's been the main things you've been struggling with?
Struggling with?
Yeah.
Well, probably just the aggressive players, but
Mm-hmm.
Darius is just because of the stacks, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like if a set or a Mordekaiser just goes into my wave,
Yep.
I can usually win those.
Yeah.
Um, but it still feels kind of bad against them. But yeah, uh, sort of the same concept of just treating them like ranged applies.
Um, in a way, I think the easiest way to view it is um, they're trying to make it champion versus champion, right?
Mm.
They're trying to do something based on knowledge, and you can either handshake that and go into it, or you can just say no, right? They're basically doing a gamble that they have better knowledge about a specific situation than you do. That's their gamble. And whoever is like closer to truth will win out, basically. But that's only if you actually handshake and agree with that, right? If they just run into the minions and you don't completely fight back and accept the all in, then it still stays to be player versus player, right? And
Yeah,
they generally, even though it might feel bad or it might look good for them, often they take the entire minion wave as damage. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on that's super negative for them. Yeah, and this just looking like the very clean um Ornn gameplay. You know, just walking forward, abusing him completely. Yeah, make sure you abuse that level 2 lead. All just makes sense. And yeah, like here, definitely just go forward, hit him real hard. Yes. Make him feel the hurt. We're going to crash this here, otherwise next wave is going to be rough. That is fine. That Q ended up really good, but I don't think it was a good idea. Right now, yep, just going to move in to make sure that we're not getting ganked or anything like that. Or I guess like you warded early on for your jungler, which is something like I don't necessarily would recommend, but if you want to do that, that's fine. Oh, that Q I don't like at all.
yeah. I remember the last session where I messed up the wave in the 7, but it just kind of works out this time.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. No, like if you look at this Q here, right? Like um, is not actually that bad because of the minions hitting the tower, right?
Yeah.
It's still even numbers. And yeah, it definitely works out here. And just kind of shoves into you and way less safe now.
I kind of messed it all up here, but I
Yeah,
think it was the jungler coming.
makes sense. Oh, I would have
No,
forgotten that CS.
I let him die here because I genuinely don't think anything changes if I walk with him. I don't
No,
have any
no.
abilities.
I don't think so either. I think that's like 100% his fault as well. Like, he should not die there. And I was just gonna say, like, that's a bit of a dangerous recall spot. But in regards to, like, standing in right positions, you're doing way better already. Like, that's super nice to see. So unlucky.
Yeah. Ornn's W is so RNG for CSing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just go.
It was unfortunate as well. I shouldn't even use R.
Well, yeah, if you know you're gonna die, then.
Yeah. Now, this one kind of looks good because I dodge a lot of abilities, but I'm not sure if that's because I'm standing in the right places or just because he's within them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are definitely because I'm standing well, but I'm not sure if all.
What's with the quality? Oh, okay, it's going up. That's already way better. It was like 144, I think. So it's always so nice just how you get to lane first and just get ahead.
Hmm.
Yeah, you wanna probably auto attack. Oh, that's a nice dodge. It's a very nice dodge. That's just a good punish from Mordekaiser. I just want to make sure we're not in the. So here, something I don't like is basically the movement that you're gonna be doing here. So there's like multiple things going on here, right? So first on, we got into this position, right, where we're next to the wall, which is always
Yeah.
dangerous because if I'm this Mordekaiser, then I'm just gonna like walk at you and Q because there's only like three ways you can really dodge, right?
Hmm.
Because you can't dodge into the wall, you can just kind of aim at this general area and it'll always hit. So these wall positions are very dangerous. So what's going on here is you're clicking right here because I assume you want to get out of the wall area because you're recognizing that this is an issue,
Yep.
right? Which makes sense, right? It makes sense why you're doing that. But however, if you see
And
at the pathing that you're going to be taking, right?
I'm in the wave.
Exactly. So if you want to do this decision, you either need to just move in like this, right? Or you need to basically accept that you're not gonna trail on these two and go all the way around, right? Obviously, like the mistake is getting into that point in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like right here, that was good, but if you're noticing that you're clicking here, that's kind of odd, right?
Mhm.
We don't need to. We can just go up here, right? And that was like you actually went back up, but now you're going this way more. And that's where you have to ask yourself, like, oh, why are we standing in this position? Why are we walking all the way back? What's going on there, right? That was a very good dodge. And that's basically just like the RNG traits, right? Like whenever you just throw out an ability randomly and it like hits, and I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't need to hit. You've proven yourself that it doesn't need to hit right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this you definitely want to like have push into you again, which it slowly will. If you just last hit here, ooh, that Q's late, very late. It's all timing, right? But yeah, like moving into the same positions every time, right? Like it's almost a habit where you always walk towards the river instead of somewhere else, and or starts to do like absolute marathons around the lane. Very nice. That was very close. You definitely could have. Oh, you can probably kill the Mordekaiser here. Oh yeah,
Try.
especially if he walks like that. Okay. Oh no, is he living? He's not, right? Oh my god. Oh,
He lives
oh my
twice.
god.
Because basically the same thing happens again later.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, here. Oh, yeah, you mistimed the W. That's like I think the only thing you can do different earlier there. You just time the W correctly.
Honestly, like even if I W, I still get fear after the
Yeah, yeah,
animation ends. So,
yeah, yeah. But like if you W later, you um basically neutralize more of the fear.
oh yeah.
But yeah, like if you really want to like analyze why this gank happened in the first place as well, right? It's because of right here where we're not crashing really hard. It's a point where the fourth wave is basically already here, right?
Hmm.
And preferably we would have not had it like this. We would have crashed sooner. This is kind of where it already goes wrong, because this is still kind of fine for Mordekaiser, and if you start trading with Mordekaiser here, which you will, right, like that Q, the wave will stay there again, and also doesn't have that mastery, just randomly dies to him. But like right now, this staying here, and this is definitely a case where you just need to ward right here, because this wave is gonna stay here, right? And that Q is great because it doesn't hit anything. But like move like this move is great, but if you start moving onto the CS, like that move forward doesn't make sense. Right? You have no abilities up and you're just moving forward.
Mm.
You have no grasp buff, you have nothing up. There's nothing for you to punish, he's already using Q. Why are we moving up, right? And then surprise surprise, the jungler that was topside actually showed up topside. Right? Yeah. And that's just pretty unlucky. Oh my god. You're right. Yeah, and here you're doing another champion versus champion idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where literally just like look at the lane. It's great for you. Just be patient. Right? Literally just
Yeah.
be patient.
Yeah, I've lately been a bit loose with my ults.
Yeah, like you don't need to make everything, knowledge versus knowledge. Just really show them how good of a player you are. Right? Like now you're not allowing your like trained skills as a player to shine. Wow, you actually got that. It's basically like the way you're playing right now, you will always be limited by Ornn's limits. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like basically you're playing you're doing what Ornn can do, not what Jake can do, right? And what you can do is in general greater than what Ornn in general can do, right? Because
Yeah.
you can add way more things to it. You can elongate it, right? You can change it from a sprint to a marathon. Wait, was that intentional?
I think so.
No way. Where did it even go? Like, actually, where did it even go?
Somewhere bot. I don't know.
Oh, it's no, no. He must have thought he had ignite.
Yeah, but where would he click?
True. What was that? That was actually impressive though. Like, I have no clue. Yep, very good. We don't need to stand next to it. I think. So something here we can consider, right? Like your click is fine. Another option here is that when you're standing here, instead of clicking back, you click to the side, and then you angle from here, right? Because you can't go both directions. But this is an option too, because you've got the CS there. As I'd say, like if you didn't have the CS there, you need to move forward and do like that. Just wait out pole plating. Such a bad rune. Bone plating is always hilarious how bad it can be. Uh, I think you can easily dodge that. What? Is that corrupting potion on him? Okay, good time flash. I'm so weirded out by the Mordekaiser build. Because I think he's running corrupting potion now. This doesn't make sense like the animation. Yeah, okay. That was a good. Oh no. No. No, don't clear the herald. Just kill them. Oh no. Oh, that's so sad. God. That's played real.
That was panic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really looked like it. Oh my god. Uh, This is something else. Okay, let's just quickly look at the last one and see how it goes. Because then we can kind of already make a bit of summary and talk about how to move forward. I'm pretty sure I've actually seen some high MMR players messed around with Taric jungle.
Yeah, so have I. Just not here. And I mean, he carried like hard.
Really, it's pretty insane. If you just look at teams, then yours looks way better. Though I guess Taric ultimate could be pretty good. I guess you just have to like use your ultimate to bait out Taric ultimate, and if you can, then you really win this. And if you can't, then it's rough. Oh, hello, Mordekaiser. Oh, careful with the passive. God. Yeah, you can just see, right? Like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's just playing champion versus champion. He's just throwing out random abilities, which already helps a ton. Wouldn't want to stand on that dying minion. You've got that. Nice. There's another reason, right? Like he's going for. Oh, that's very nice. He's just going for times where he knows it's gonna hit, but it's just not hitting, right? Because he's not going for the guaranteed ones like you are. And this is what I was talking about earlier, right? Like right now, you're playing player versus player.
Hmm.
You're no longer playing Ornn versus Mordekaiser. You're playing Jake versus Otaku number 000. It's not a good number. It's like worse than number one. Okay, it's a bit like this is something on you, right? Like this Q makes sense. I don't like the timing of it, but let's look at
Was
this, right? Like let's look at this timing. This Q is way too early, right?
Yeah, I was just worried about the minion behind.
Yeah, okay, okay. If that's your reasoning, that's fine. But this, what's this, right?
Crashing wave.
Sure is. But like,
Yeah, I don't have to go for it.
right? Like, this is like literally what Mordekaiser has been doing the entire time, right? This is what he's been praying for you to finally go champion versus champion. Same with the Q right there. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is like, if you're just patient and you literally just do what you're good at, like you don't need anything else. You actually don't. I'm not sure if you win that actually. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't like this TP at all. If we just walk there, then we get the exact same stuff going. Seemed very autopilot there,
Probably, yeah.
right? Like you would arrive at the same time with this wave, and literally no difference, right? And now Mordecai just has TP and you don't. That's it, right? Again, that W, right? Like, great that ended up working and you ended up landing it fully, but why? Now we can't punish this minion, right? And that minion would have been a guaranteed full one, right? Like, that Q is nice, but I would personally wait a bit longer. There's a lot of nice stuff going on there, though, right? Like, your ability to dodge a lot of things. Basically, just like, we don't need to play the sprint game. Our opponents are all sprinters. The longer it goes, the better it's for us, basically.
Mhm.
I think that was very good. Right, but like, you can see, right, like, this guy doesn't know how to play against someone who just hits him every time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like there's this one video of a ages ago, like absolute years ago, um before the mixed fire, like the MME, right, or MMA, sorry, before the MMA, there was a fight between um the best boxer and one of the best Muay Thai fighters, and basically what happened is um, everything was allowed, and the boxer was way heavier, looked to be the favorite in every way. Um, like a couple of punches were super threatening, but what happened is the entire fight. Let's see if I can actually like. Was it kickboxing? It might have been. Yeah, it was this video right here. But basically everything that happened was the guys, like the Muay Thai guy, just kept like kicking against the kickboxer's leg, like at the exact same spot over and over and over again, right? For the entire fight until basically the boxer just couldn't do anything anymore. Just
Mhm.
like basically got knocked out, and that's what you can do here, right? Like if we just kick the same spot over and over again, at a certain point they're going to be so low that they can't take any more hits, right? You look at it as percentages, the more you've hit, the more of a percentage of their health you're taking off. And this, right, like, very nice. Great that you can do this. But at the same time, right, like, you don't need this, right? And yeah, and that's like you getting a bit more confident here as well, right? Which it's great that you are, but at the same time, right, like you just use your ultimate. You're considerably less strong. Your wave position is still amazing, right? Like this is super good for you, and we're super far ahead. Yes, I like that E. I wouldn't have liked it if you E'd into the thing, into the yeah pillar. And you see like the same thing, right? Like constantly he's trying to make it into a sprint, constantly he's trying to make it into champion versus champion, and you're just saying no, right? And every time you say no, like he doesn't know what to do because he's not used to people saying no to him. He's used to people just, oh yeah. Oh no, no, you can base still. The cannon's pretty nice. I can understand this as well. Like it's not like he has TP, so it's all good. Hmm? Man, they be smurfing. Yeah, and that, same idea. It's basically just indulging yourself. Yeah, if we kind of summarize everything, right? So what's going on with Darius, right, is um, 5, play the long game, right? Or I guess that's part of this, right? And then general stuff in regards to something we talked about like stage 2 a lot, right? Um, um, I'll link you that video so that you can actually look at it because it explains it way better than I ever could.
Yeah, sure.
um, but yeah, like be like the Muay Thai fighter, um, chip away at their health. Don't force yourself all in. Play the play like your abilities as a as a player. Don't rely on what ornn can do, right? Which is basically what we're doing, right? Like if we're going for all in like that, it's all just ornn versus Mordekaiser. There's nothing else really like really to it except for like mechanical misplays. In
Yeah,
regards to stage 3, right? Really like care for the walls. You're already noticing this, but like take safe routes back. Don't walk through minions too much. This last game was amazing, right? Like there are so many really good things in this game. Um, the only things I'd really like mention here is basically really look after your habits or look out for your habits. There's a lot of the times where basically what happens is you will queue in one direction and you immediately click back the other direction,
yeah. For, yeah, that's for sure the thing.
right? And like clicking back is not necessarily like the issue, right? The issue is that you click like straight line back, even though sometimes you want to click here, which is
Hmm.
something we saw earlier, right? Where basically like I can't remember which fought, but basically you like queued like this and you immediately click back like that, putting yourself into a position where it would have been negative for you, even though you could have queued here and walked into this position, so you can later W from here, right? Because you are all the way here, you need to run all the way down there or all the way down there, right? So these are like some of these things, right, where there's just some habits where after every ability you tend to click back, or you either click back immediately or you go like all in. There's like the two modes that you have.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at choosing which one to go for, but you still have two modes, and that's not like we don't want two modes.
Hmm.
We want the flexibility, right? So those are like basically the things to fix for right now, right? Um, I do want to talk about the next step, right? I do want to talk about this because I don't think the things above need very long, especially with how this VOD looks. Right, like this VOD here is completely competent stage view. Like this is perfect basically. This is all we ever want. Right.
Nice.
So because we already see that, we can at least talk about what we're gonna focus on here, right? And it's gonna be like map awareness slash information gathering, right? We're gonna be focusing on works in two steps. First off, we gotta be able to just look at the map, right? And this is literally just training your eyes to constantly look at it.
Yeah,
Because right,
this will be hard.
yes, it is. And this can be done in multiple ways. The most popular two are either use of website slash app that makes a noise every 5 seconds, right?
I used to try this like a long time ago
Yeah,
before Resolve, and it just didn't work. I started to ignore the sound. It was this bad.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, also take into account, right? Like, all these steps before, right? Like how to click and
Hmm.
like trading constantly and CSing. All those things were active thought before, but now they're passive thought.
Hmm.
So you'll have more space in your mind to focus on something like this, to actually force yourself to do something like this, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the concept, right? So making a noise or a metronome or a song or whatever, right? And it can be as annoying or as nice as you want. The other option is every time you go for a CS, look at minimap, right? This one is more purposeful than this one, basically. This one basically, like both of them, their goal is just to train your eyes, right? We're not trying to gain information or anything. We're just trying to train our eyes because it's really difficult for our eyes if they've been like so if you compare how they've been so far, right? So far they've been looking at like maybe here, otherwise here, right? And so like if there's minions, they'll look at your minions, right? But like this location of the like screen is where your eyes are looking, pretty much all the time, and most of the time they're right there on Mordekaiser, right? To be forced to look from here to here to here to here to here, right? Like this movement is gonna be difficult for your eyes at first, which is why we just have to train them. And it's not even important like how much information you actually gain. It's not really important how we're gonna use that right now. It's just important that we train our eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this will be step one, right? Um, Step two, which we'll go like more in depth on next time, will basically be using the information and how we're testing that is, or how we're using that or testing that is, um, think about what side the enemy jungler is on, right? Which, like, this is probably for something after next session, um, and we'll expand on
Okay.
that way more then. But basically, how you could envision that is just at any moment you should be able to tell if the jungler's side switched, which might sound a bit absurd right now, but
Yeah.
if your eyes are constantly looking at the minimap, like it kind of you kind of just get that information. It's not that special,
Hmm.
right? And then obviously you can kind of play accordingly, where blah blah. Blah. And we'll go more in depth with that next session. Um, do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
I'll link this. No, it's not that one. This one. It's honestly kind of like there's like multiple moments where this guy is like the Muay Thai fighter is almost knockout, but basically where it ends is um this guy just, like this Muay Thai fighter is literally just always kicking the same leg over and over again. I'll link that here and then all of this as well. Um, there's no more questions. I hope you have a very nice day. The growth in regards to like stage three and stuff like that looked super nice. Really happy with you. Um, Definitely keep going with, like how you're doing right now. It's
Will do my
really working out.
best. Well, then, see ya later then.
See you. Bye.
Bye.